everybody. It's JJ. It is Sunday, October 18th, 2020. Appreciate you joining me. We have quite a bit of news to get into. I spent most of the day Saturday, October 17th, researching, listening to interviews, reading articles. And here's one of the big topics that's been on the tongue of a lot of people that follow the economy, a lot of economists and financial gurus, things like that. And this is the transition from LIBOR to SOFR. That's S-O-F-R. SOFR is what they're calling it. First of all, I think a lot of you know LIBOR is the world's most widely used benchmark for short-term rates, but it's coming to an end. And most investors and borrowers have a vague sense of LIBOR. But it's important because odds are most of us have loans and assets that are tied to it, and it's estimated between 200 and 300 trillion globally in mortgages, consumer loans, corporate debt, derivatives, and other instruments that reference LIBOR. This is a far-reaching market barometer or instrument, rather. Regulators, they want to retire LIBOR with a full phase-out by the end of 2021, so this is going to be done incrementally. But at that point, when the final phase-out is completed, all dollar-denominated loans, derivatives, and debt will reference a new rate, the Secured Overnight Funding Rate, or SOFR, S-O-F-R, which is a median of rates that market participants pay to borrow cash on an overnight basis using treasuries as collateral. Now, this has been a slow transition from LIBOR to SOFR. It's been going on for actually a few years now, but it's recently began to gather more steam. Now, many economists and analysts that I've heard speak about this are saying prepare. This could be a major market disruptor, including some people actually forecasting crashes in the stock market. I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're going to wake up on Monday. You're not going to notice anything different. The market's probably going to be up. Maybe it'll be down, but I do not predict any sort of crash or correction because of this. Why? Because this has been happening incrementally. Now, this is a big swap here. This particular phase, banks brace for the big bang, switch on 80 trillion worth of swaps. Well, according to sources I have, between 200 and 300 trillion of debt globally is the total amount. So this is another phase or a period of transition. And this is how American Banker put it here in this article. Quote, the reset, which will see SOFR replace the effective federal funds rate in calculations and value swaps, is part of a push to make SOFR a standard U.S. reference rate in debt and derivatives markets. SOFR is intended to replace dollar LIBOR, which still underpins hundreds of trillions of dollars of loans and assets and mortgages, including loans in the U.S. and Asia. This big bang follows a similar scale pivot in Europe this July, a less complicated switch that occurred without much impact on the market. Right, so what they're saying is that we've already seen this happen in Europe. This is not something new. It is making bigger news now because they're ramping up the size of these transitions and these swaps. Right, but I don't want to get into the mechanics of it. There's plenty of articles out there, even YouTube videos on LIBOR versus SOFR. You can look it up. But what we talk about here is preparation. So do I think you should panic and prepare for a crash? No, I don't think so. But all along on this channel, I've continuously said prepare for a worst-case scenario that includes being diversified in your preparations, in your investments. And I wouldn't have all my money in one spot. I certainly don't have all my money in the market. I still hold. Ahorita con la cuarentena, todo el mundo nos ha subido los recibos de luz. En verano nos va a subir aún más, pero la buena noticia. Hold cash in case of a deflationary correction. Not as much cash as I would like. It's expensive to live here in California, but I'm doing the best I can, and I know a lot of you out there are doing the best you can. Well, let's go ahead and get into some other news here. And this is not really new news, but it is still something that a lot of people I don't think understand. Less than 10% of all quote-unquote currency in the world is physical. Currency can be created out of nothing. It doesn't have to be physical. It doesn't have to be coins or even bills. It doesn't have to be paper. So it's not only being printed. Printing's a fraction of what's happening right now. It's mostly just digits on a hard drive somewhere. Right, so think about that. They can create unlimited amounts of this quote-unquote currency. A lot of people would even argue that it's even currency. It's really not, but people accept it as currency, and people don't understand that it can be created out of nothing, so it still holds value. But when you can create unlimited amounts of something, anything, you're going to have a supply and demand problem. And the problem is we're going to have a lot of people with spending power and purchasing power, and lower goods to choose from to purchase. That means lower production, lower manufacturing, and that's what we're seeing. And we're seeing rising prices in many areas. Look at autos, look at the housing market, look at food, look at the cost of energy, and tie that in with greedy corporations and CEOs doing buybacks and padding their own pockets versus giving people, their employees, wage increases, and you have a recipe for disaster. And that's why I've been saying also, prepare for inflation, have hard assets to help protect your wealth, because this money creation machine doesn't look like it's going to slow down anytime soon. And this system was designed to enrich the already rich, and we see now that billionaires have now collectively a record-breaking $10 trillion in wealth. All right, and this is part of the wealth transfer. Billionaire wealth increased to $10.2 trillion through the end of July 2020, setting a new record, even as millions of Americans have now fallen into poverty and are on the verge of homelessness. Wealth by billionaires around the world rose to $10.2 trillion, up from the previous $8.9 trillion in 2017, so just in 3 years. That's a big jump in the wealth, and also the number of billionaires rose from 2,158 in 2017 to 2,189 in the summer of 2020. Right? It's mega corporations, it's consolidation, competition being wiped out with all the small businesses going under. This summer, in some areas, it's 50% or more small businesses closing down permanently. Look at New York. It's estimated that 90% of the restaurants are likely going to close their doors permanently. So it depends on where you live, but this economic situation is looking very, very dire. And there's a lot of people not only falling behind, but completely falling between the cracks. Here's a story out of CNBC. She waited a half a year for her unemployment benefits, and she's one of the lucky ones. She ended up getting unemployment. What about all the people that fell between the cracks that do not have any unemployment? We see now most millennials living back home with their parents, and millennials now are in their 30s and mid-30s. So you have a lot of people in a bad situation and in a spot that they wouldn't have predicted that they would be in at this point in their life. NPR.org, I'm still unemployed, millions in dire situations as savings run out. So now this has been over 6 months since the shutdown. People are burning through their savings. The 26-week unemployment period has now ended, so people need some sort of enhanced or extra unemployment boost at this point. We see the left and the right, they're arguing over a stimulus package. Something big has to happen very, very soon, because we're at the end of this 26-week unemployment period, and it could get real ugly if something huge doesn't happen. Major debt forgiveness, a new stimulus package, maybe even universal basic income. It's not going to be the long-term solution. It's going to make things worse, actually, long-term, but it can help slow some of the bleeding. So we're going to wrap this one up right here, everybody. Thank you for watching. Again, I don't predict the market crash on Monday like some people are. There are people out there that are being very alarmist.
Shalom. We'll start out by giving all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rakadash. Salutation to the elders and apostles of GMS groups and ones alike teach 100% truth. Shalom, Brakathon to them. Double honors to the elders and apostles of GMS groups and ones alike teach 100% truth. Shalom, Brakathon to them. And foremost, give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rakadash. That was a bull boom and bear bust video relating to banking transition, panic, system, debt, emergency savings. Pretty much another economical video relating to we in dire times financially. People emergency savings, spending debt, increased debt, people tapping into their savings, banking transition, etc. That was a bear bust video. I want to go to some scriptures. I'm going to go to Proverbs 10 and 15. A rich man's wealth is a strong city. The destruction of the poor is their poverty. Being poor is their destruction. And also a rich man's becoming poor will be his destruction. I want to go to Proverbs 11 and 4. Riches profit not in the day of wrath, but righteousness deliver from death. So your riches are not going to profit in the day of wrath, or the day of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua's judgment. Whether it's this fake paper fiat money or gold or silver, it's not going to benefit you in the day. It's not going to protect you in the day of the Lord's wrath. Let's go to 11 and 28. He that trusteth in his riches shall fall, but the righteous shall flourish as a branch. That's a point. He that trusteth in his riches shall fall. So the rich specifically, or ones who have money, trusting in your riches, having faith in your riches more than having faith in you relating to this truth, relating to the Lord. You know what I mean? So having trust, having faith and trust in your money monetarily will be very unwise and not practical. And that's the point of this video. He that trusteth in his riches shall fall. And that's what's going to happen. They're going to fall because they trusted in something that's false. That's a false sense of security, a false sense of protection. It ultimately can't do nothing. It has no power to do anything to protect you. But the righteous shall flourish as a branch. Let's go to Proverbs. Let's go to Proverbs 13 and 11. This is Proverbs 13 and 11. Wealth gotten by vanity shall diminish, but he that gathereth by labor shall increase. One who worked hard will increase, but one who got by vanity or deceit is going to diminish, man, because it's not honorable. Let's go to number 18. This is 13 and 18 of Proverbs. Poverty and shame shall be to him that refuseth instructions. And that relates to this truth and knowledge. Ones who don't want to hearken and heed relating to this truth and knowledge, or considering the possibility of what the prophets are saying relating to this instruction, which relates to this truth and knowledge. It's going to be their shame. It's going to be their shame. It's going to be their shame to them. I'm going to read it again. Poverty and shame shall be to him that refuseth instruction, but he that regardeth reproof shall be honored. So regarding reproof, correction are going to be honored, but the ones who refuse or not hearken to it, it's going to be their shame. And a good example of that will be the 2/3. They're going to be shamed because they never believed, man. This is Proverbs 10 and 2. Treasures of wickedness profit nothing, but righteousness deliver from death. The treasures of wickedness profit nothing. The manner of deceit, by deception, by fraud, that the wicked have accumulated wealth on a false pre-note or false pretense, is not going to profit nothing. And that's pretty much the wicked, man, because like I said, trusting in your money will be to your downfall. And it's not going to protect you in the day of the wrath. And that relates to the ones who in power, man. Because they really think their money is going to protect them from the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yashah. It's not. Treasures of wickedness profit nothing, but the righteous shall deliver from death. Let's go to 10 and 4. Let's read 10 and 4. I'll read 10 and 4. He becometh poor that dealeth with a slack hand. But the hand of the diligent maketh rich. One who's diligent, persistent, they're going to become rich. One who labor, they're going to become rich. But one who's slack or slothful, or not energetic in their objective or goal, pretty much are going to it's not going to benefit them. They're gonna want but have nothing. I'm going to go to Proverbs 18 and 11. A rich man's wealth is a strong city, and a high wall in his own conceit. So a rich man's wealth is a strong city. His wealth is this false sense of protection. But that's what it is, a false sense of protection. So in his own conceit, in his own vanity, in his own ego, his money thinks is going to protect him. But it's not. You can put that 18:11 with 10 and 15 of 15 and 10 of Proverbs, what I just read. Shalakia. You can put 18:11 Proverbs with 10 and 15 Proverbs. Shalakia. I want to go to I'm going to read 18 and 11 again, then I'm going to read 23. A rich man's wealth is a strong city, so it's like it's protection, and a high wall in his own conceit. Number 23, the poor useth entreaties. Entreaties is pretty much beg, beseech, pretty much ask earnestly, but in a begging manner. The poor uses entreaties, so they beg, they beseech upon the rich to ask earnestly for what they want. But the rich answer roughly, because the rich are in the power and they don't have to respect the poor. The poor is at the mercy of the rich. Let's go to 22 and 7 of Proverbs. The rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is a servant to the lender. That would go with what I just read relating to that will complement with 18 and 23, 22 and 7. Because the poor is a servant to the lender. They have the mercy financially to the lender until relating to debt, relating to being subservient and a servant, even a slave to them, whether financially or whether just period. Because the rich have the power and the poor have nothing, man. So they have to go to them for everything. For every means of resources, housing, food, and different things, man. The poor represents the righteous, and the rich represents the wicked, man. to go to James 5:1. James 5:1. This is a warning to the rich. Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl, for your misery shall come upon you. That's pretty much a warning to what's going to happen to the rich, man. Relating to Yahweh Bashem Yahshua in judgment. Your riches are corrupt and your garments are moth-eaten, so they no good. Your gold and your silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you. And shall eat your flesh as it were fire, and ye have reaped treasures together for the last days. And that's what's happening. They're reaping treasures for the last days, man. The rich, man. Get it good while you have it. The wicked. Because the monetary system is fake anyway. He said 8% of his physical money anyway. It's pretend money, it's paper money, monopoly money, made to have substance, made to look like it has backing, when it actually don't. It's nothing. And that's what that money is. There's a bunch of holes in it. Number 4. Behold, the hiring of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you, kept back by fraud, cried, and the cries of them which have reaped are entered to the ears of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahshua Sabaoth. So the ones you used by violence, forcefully used as slaves, they're crying into the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahshua, man, and the Lord hears them. Ye have lived in pleasure on earth, and have been wanton, and ye have nourished your hearts in the day of slaughter, man. So you capitalize using certain people, man, to build up your empire, your wealth, your empire, man. But there's a catch to that. The Lord allowed you to do it because prophecy had to be fulfilled. But ultimately, the balance of it, the Lord's going to judge you because you abused your power. You abused the apple of his eye, man. And you're going to pay for it. And the Lord's going to make sure you pay for it. And you know it in heart, the Lord's going to make you pay for it. Ye have condemned and killed the just which are the righteous, and he doth not resist you. So they did nothing to you, man. They were kind and friendly to you. For example, is that the Indians. The ones you used, hundreds of millions that you slaughtered, and also so-called blacks, you used slavery, which is the industrial complex. That's how all these businesses and corporations became rich, man. Off of slavery, man. Call it generational money. So this is a warning relating to the rich, man. Warning that the Lord is coming for you, man. And it's not too far. He sees what you're doing. So you wicked better fear Yahweh Bashem Yahshua, man. In heart you do. And that being said, I'll give all praise to Yahweh Bashem Yahshua Bashem Rakadush. And the water, whoever listens to this, hope it benefits in some way. Give all praise again to Yahweh Bashem Yahshua Bashem Rakadush. The water Shalom. Thanks.